heard that the storm was approaching. I was, of course, concerned, but I had no intention of leaving. We've lived here for a very long time, and I've never been frightened by the ocean. In fact, storms always are sort of exciting. You know, you watch, and many times we would see the waves come down the street and think that's sort of neat. But as things began to intensify up there, and I looked out the window upstairs and saw the ferocity of that ocean, I did become rather concerned. So that afternoon, thought that I was coming back the next day. And of course, it was several weeks before we were allowed back in. Finally, when we were allowed back in by bus that horrible day, and we walked up the street carrying our one suitcase that we were allowed to carry, it was shocking. Walking up this block was, it was heartbreaking because people were standing in the streets crying, hugging each other. And when I saw this house with all the windows broken and my entire library of thousands of books gone, my whole carousel collection gone, I just couldn't believe it. It was more than one could really take in at that moment. That was perhaps one of the worst days of my life. And my instinct was, just knock it down. There's a sign here that I should walk away. This chapter of life is gone. And I really had no desire to come back to it. This I always thought of as the last chapter of my life. The academic one was first, and the carousel and the carousel shop, and now this was the real retirement period of my life, when I was going to enjoy this home, write another book, and just sit back and sort of reap the benefits of all our work. I loved it as a little child. We vacationed here, and I always loved the carousel and always wanted to operate it. And I did. It paid my way through college. It paid my way through graduate school. I went to University of California, Berkeley, and in the summertime I would drive cross country to operate that machine. And many years later I went on to build my career, and I learned in the 80s that it was going to be sold and removed. I wrote to Kenneth Wynn, who then owned it. He and his father-in-law were the original developers of the property, and said, can I run it just one more time? And he called me and said, it's yours. So I ran it weekends that summer. And then I said, I have one more proposition for you. I said, I'd love to restore it. It's just looking a little shabby. And one day he called me up to the office and said, here's the key to the building for the winter. You can do whatever you want with your machine, and we're taking it off the market. So that winter, my friends, my family, and I spent every weekend in the cold building, painting it, restoring it, getting the organ running again, taking fluorescent lights out and putting back the original incandescents. And it opened the next summer to oohs and ahs. Ridership went up, and that year it became named for me at a surprise ceremony. It became the Dr. Floyd Dwelling Carousel, and remains that way to this day.